this is your host, Julia Napini. I am a clinical and forensic social worker who owns a counseling practice and a consulting business. In this show, we discuss the challenges of being successful in business while maintaining your integrity and staying true to yourself. Join me while I interview other professionals and share insights from life and experience. The Compassionate Climb podcast. You guys are always in for a treat, but today especially. So we have one of our team members with us today from Compassionate Counseling Company, April Lacey. She is a clinical team lead at the practice. She has been with us almost 2 years now. And today we are going to talk about her journey as a clinician that specializes in perinatal mental health, her passion for working with those that are struggling with the postpartum period, the group that she's run multiple times at the practice, and a climb event that we are co-leading. So, April, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. This is one of those moments where I'm like, okay, this is the purpose behind this. Having this podcast, it is such a treat when I'm able to bring people from my own world and share them with the audience. So I would love it if you would provide some background to the audience. How did you get into therapy?
So, I kind of feel like it's a similar story to a lot of people, kind of my own personal experiences and struggles throughout the years, as well as like some family dynamics growing up and just like, obviously I wanted to help people, but I felt like I could kind of come from a place of understanding and empathy. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't say I knew as a little kid, but I definitely knew like once I got to college, like I wanted to do psychology, and I was like, I'll go in undecided, but I still ended up doing psychology. But I wanted to give myself the option to maybe try something else, but here I am.
Oh, I love that. So I can definitely relate. For me, I wanted to figure out the dynamics of my own family. And so I was drawn to psychology and sociology, and those classes just fascinated me. Mm-hmm. And then it just took off from there. And I think you really spoke to how when we don't lose sight of our own early experiences, it really helps us to normalize and understand and relate to a lot of what our clients go through and be a support for them. So we're thrilled that you took that path. So since your start here with us, perinatal mental health has become a specialty of yours. How did that come about?
So, interesting story. I feel like it was kind of just thrown at me, like not in a bad way, but
right, just an opportunity.
One of the former clinicians that worked for CCC had expressed interest in developing a postpartum support group, and asked if anyone wanted to co-lead it. So I kind of jumped aboard that. I have my own daughter. She's 3 now. And basically from there, she ended up, going on her own and doing her own private practice. So I asked if I could kind of take over, and I kind of just ran with it from there. And
you sure did.
And as I was running the group, I was looking into like resources to provide people, and I connected to the website Postpartum Support International, and so much information, and then kind of took off from there.
And so you've talked to me a little bit, and I know that you probably share some of this in your group about how it was helpful for you to understand or maybe support others from the experience that you had with your own birth. Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, so my daughter was born premature, 33 weeks, and it was January 2020, so right before COVID. Mm-hmm. So I already kind of was worried about her, and then COVID hit in March. Wow. And everything shut down, and I kind of struggled with my own kind of anxiety and depression around that. Sure. And just feeling like I relate to it and understand it, and I've been there, and I feel like I can provide that support in that way.
So it's one of those situations where I feel like things do not happen for a reason. You are definitely meant to have this opportunity and to seize it, and we're so glad that you did. So now that you've run this group multiple times, tell us about your experience in the group itself.
So the group, I feel like it's gone through stages. So initially I started off with 6 weeks, and I felt like it was definitely a good amount, but maybe not quite enough. So then I was like, let me try doing it ongoing, and then it became like I was kind of doing it in a rolling admission kind of way, but then I felt like people were missing out on stuff. So I've kind of met that middle ground, and it's now a 10-week group, and I feel like that's been great, and I have a lot of great topics that we discuss, and I've had a lot of positive feedback from people that participate, and it's virtual at night, and I always welcome babies if they feel like they need them, but I also say, like, hey, if you want to use it for your self-care hour, that's great too.
Sure.
I want it to be available for whoever.
So share with the audience some of the topics that you cover in the 10-week group.
Yeah, so we definitely talk about the difference between the baby blues versus postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety. We talk about some of the other mood and anxiety, perinatal mood and anxiety disorders, such as OCD or postpartum psychosis, postpartum bipolar. And then we talk about kind of the transition to being a new mom or being a mom again, depending on who joins. And then we talk about the struggles with breastfeeding, the changes within relationships, and also we talk about matrescence, which is huge to people that aren't always aware. It's kind of like this, look it up if you haven't heard of it. It's kind of this experience of becoming a new mom that's almost like a second adolescence. And it really relates to a lot of people who maybe feel like they're not baby blues, but maybe they're not postpartum depression. It might be that middle ground.
Okay.
So we talk about that. I share some videos. We talk about self-care, which is huge because I think as new moms or moms in general, we kind of forget about that. And
Absolutely.
so a lot of great stuff.
And I remember seeing the incorporation of their partners in the process.
Yes.
Right? You cover a lot of ground. I can see how 6 weeks would have been challenging to fit all of that in.
Yeah, definitely. And we always, I always open it up to, if you feel like there's anything you want to specifically discuss that I have, I have an agenda, a curriculum, but like I'm very much open to like anything that's on people's mind. I know partners was a huge one. I did have something about relationships, but that was definitely mentioned as a very helpful in the matrescence, like I said.
Yeah. So I am obviously a huge proponent of groups, and obviously you are. I know that a lot of clinicians can kind of go in one direction or another. It's either like, yes, sign me up, all about the groups, or no interest whatsoever. So now that you have run this group multiple times, from your experience, what can you say as far as what you see happen among these participants in this space?
So in this group, I've definitely seen people connect, people feel supported and understood, people come. I feel like they're very successful in joining, people wanting to repeat the group. People would love to be able to have friendships with the people they've met. Like they're building such a great connection with all the community that they are connecting with, and just giving such positive reviews. I don't think anyone's given any negative feedback. And I think that the virtual is working really well because, as a new mom, because it's recommended from like birth to age one, they're still kind of adjusting. They're usually with their kid. Childcare is hard, and it's at night, so it's convenient. But I think it's been a great experience, and I think some people are nervous, but once they get in there, they're like, oh, someone else who gets it.
Definitely. Oh, I can see how it can be so invaluable, and clearly you're meeting a need in our community for sure. So this has led to you are on your way to getting certified in perinatal mental health. So tell us more about what that process looks like.
Yeah, so I had to take I did it virtually, but they do offer, in-person options. Unfortunately, I'd already taken it virtually before the one was available in Massachusetts in person.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-day kind of components of care training around perinatal mental health. And then as a social worker, you do an advanced psychological training, but depending on what your degree is, you have to do, whatever your specialty is.
Okay.
And then after that, you have to have 2 years of work with perinatal mental health, and then you can apply to take the exam. And as long as you pass it, you become certified. And then from there, you just kind of have to keep up on your CEUs, but you have to do that anyways with the social work license. So that's really exciting, and to keep up on your CEUs with that, you have to do specific training around the perinatal mental health.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, as I have been alongside for your journey, I am realizing how many professionals in the area have this certification that I didn't even realize. We are fortunate enough to have two other clinicians in the practice that have this certification, one of which who's going to be having a pregnancy support group that's starting in September. So, if anybody has interest, they can head over to our website. We do have a group tab, but this has really taken off. So, you came up with the idea to lead a climb event. Tell us more about that.
So last year, compassionate counseling, we did a walk for suicide prevention,
Yes.
and I feel like that opened kind of the gates, I guess we'll say, to to try to explore something around that. So because I was into the, getting kind of interested in the perinatal mental health, I looked up on the website and it sounded like that was something to get into. So I set up a Zoom call, learned a little bit more about it, and it's definitely different than like if you do the suicide walk because that's kind of already set up. So
Right. It was a great way to get our feet wet. I don't know that it necessarily prepared us for all that planning an event from start to finish entails, but I think that we both experienced the incredible vibe that was at that event between the speakers and everybody walking and everyone's t-shirts and just the meaning behind it and the fundraising. And so, yes, I agree with you. I feel like when you mentioned this, there was no question that it was something that I wanted to be a part of. And it's been really cool to be on this end of the planning process. What's it been like for you?
yeah, it's definitely it's been an experience. I feel like I've reached out to a lot of people that I otherwise maybe wouldn't have reached out to. I've learned a lot about I've
We
learned
were
about
talking before we recorded about how the majority of your experience at CCC has been stepping out of your comfort zone, and it's been incredible to watch. And this is one of those where it's like we really have to not only reach out and make those connections, but it's not always easy to ask people to donate money or their time. But I've been pleasantly surprised at how well received it has been. Have you felt the same way?
Yeah, definitely. Even if it's just people that are like, "Oh, I've never heard about this. This is great," and they want to come. And then, people who want to be there as like a vendor or people who want to just donate or help out in any way. It's
Yeah.
been pretty amazing, and I've learned about so many more services available in the area that I probably wouldn't have known.
Yes. It's so true. What are some of them, just for examples?
So Parenting with Purpose, that was a new one to me.
Yeah.
So I was very excited to learn about that. So she is a parent support specialist. And then motherhood yoga, like knowing there was like a specific place that worked with yoga. Just some other therapists that specialize in perinatal mental health or certified in it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if anyone else is kind of coming to mind. Can you think of anyone?
Just some of the things that had surprised me, how many businesses really prioritize moms, like the photographer that we're going to have at the
Oh, yes,
event
the
that
photographer.
specializes in maternity. And we've been following her on social media, and the work that she does is beautiful.
Oh, it is
And yeah, I
amazing.
was surprised how many people were certified or just jumped on the bandwagon because it was something that they were already so passionate about, and they were looking for an outlet and a way that they can contribute or participate, which has been incredible.
Yeah, and I'm very excited. The photographer you mentioned, she's going to be photographing the event, so that's very exciting because her work is marvelous.
Oh, it really is. I've been so impressed. And so we're going to be doing a raffle at the event. So we've had local businesses that have made donations of things that we can raffle off, and all with moms in mind. So ways to pamper them, or to, the photographer had donated towards a photo shoot. And then we're going to have several vendors, like you mentioned. So a lot of information and resources about those local to Southeastern Massachusetts. And we're going to do a walk. We have some activities and people that are coming. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we're gonna have a yoga activity. We're gonna have a meditation, a slow stitch activity. We're gonna have some lawn games. We're gonna have some food. Still working out the details on what the food will be, but we're gonna have some
Yeah.
food.
Food is very important at any event. So we want to make sure that we've got plenty.
And we're gonna have a speaker kind of, sharing their own experience with postpartum mood disorders. So I think that's going to be fantastic and really great for people to hear. And kids, adults,
Yeah, family friendly.
Free, event is free. So very excited. And the raffles, obviously. And we'll have some gift bags for, the first amount of people that show up.
Yes, so our event is Sunday, October 1st. It's from 9 to 12, and it's going to be at the Department of Conservation and Recreation, Fall River Heritage State Park. So for those of you that are local, it's right near the battleship. We're going to be on the grassy area. It's beautiful. I have to say that they have done such a great job really improving that section of the city and that area in particular. Right on the water, it's got a great view, and it'll definitely be something noteworthy. I feel like this is big for us. I've seen you shine in this whole event planning process. It's been really fun to collaborate on it. And it's been wonderful to increase our involvement with the community and make the connections that we have with other people that are passionate about the similar populations that we are, and that we can mutually share resources. So whether that be the groups that we offer and participating in this event, but then learning more about these other professionals that we can refer to that maybe we knew of, but not to this extent, or we now have more knowledge and just more things that we can offer people that can benefit. So any other thoughts that you have about this event in particular?
No, I mean, I think just to mention also, we're going to have some physical therapists there. We're also going to have a doula, sleep consultant. So we're trying to really get a variety of people to provide that support and resources. I think that pretty much covers it. Like, I want people to come and raise awareness and have a good time. You can follow us on Facebook. So it's Climb Out of the Darkness Team South Coast. And you can also follow us on Instagram at, Climb Out Team South Coast. I think that's how I worded it on there.
Okay, awesome. And I will make sure to include all of that in the show notes, so it's an easy point and click. People don't have to.
It's a very long name to to put in there. But and then you can we can also include the fundraising page if anyone's interested in donating or registering for the event. If you register and raise up to $100 by September 1st, you do get a free climb T-shirt. And every 25 that's raised, you'll get a ticket into our raffle.
Yeah. Oh, it's been so much fun. So I really appreciate you obviously being a part of the team, but all of the work that you have done, the clients that you have served. This group has been such a valuable resource for the community, and the fact that you've been able to expand it and run it multiple times and help as many people as you have, and to see how this has really influenced this area of specialty for you, and you've just taken it and ran with it. So I'm excited to see the continuation of your journey and grateful to have you along for the ride. So I will make sure to include all of that information in our show notes. And if anybody wants to learn more about Compassionate Counseling Company, feel free to head over to our website. We try to keep up with all of the groups that we run and the clinicians that we have, and when we're hiring, and we're on Facebook and Instagram, and April and I have been having a lot of fun with our posts and reels and trying to be authentic but also provide value and information that people will find helpful. So thank you so much for being on the show and all you do, April.
Thank you for having me.
If you like what you're hearing, please rate and review. This will help others find us and benefit as well. The Compassionate Climb podcast represents the opinions of Julia Napini and her guests. The information provided is intended for educational purposes only and should not be taken as legal advice. If that is what you are seeking, please consult an attorney.